Actually, go ahead and make your appearances.
Stephen Webster.
All right, let me just say, I was looking through this, and I was trying to figure out, I mean, with all due respect, Ms. Gonzalez, what you really wanted. Because there's a lot of different pleadings that you filed. I thought you did a good job on all of them.
Thank
but
you.
I wasn't sure exactly what was sort of teed up today for court. So what's your opinion as to what it is you're really asking for today? Because again, you've got dismissal motions, you've got stuff having to do with briefing.
What happened is that
requests, you have an opening brief in here. So where do you think we're really at?
Well, what I had asked for was a motion to dismiss based on the fact that the City of North Las Vegas did not respond to my points and authorities. So I got a hearing for that for February the 8th, but that just so happens to be the exact same date that I have a trial in Bunkerville. So that's why I asked for a continuance of that, and I got this hearing.
Is that what we're here to do, just that today? What's the trial in Bunkerville?
On the helmet citation as well.
All right, so I'll just take your word for it. Do you have any disagreement that she's supposed to be in Bunkerville on February 8th?
No, I've got no problem. Just so the court knows, this matter is set for a de novo trial in March, on March the 6th. This is an appeal from a court which is not of record. So when we were here the first time on November 5th, they set a trial for January 29th with briefing, as they do for courts of record. When you and I were here last month on December 10th, the appellant was not here. We set the trial, the de novo trial, on March 6th, and I informed the court that we didn't have a record, and we vacated the briefing schedule that led up to the January 29th trial. It was my motion on December 10th to continue the trial because the officer citing has back surgery. So we set the trial to March 6th. It's a de novo trial without a record, and we vacated the briefing schedule at that time. That's why I didn't respond. I don't think there's any need for a brief. It's a de novo trial on March 6th.
Okay.
I don't understand what vacated means.
Okay, let me talk to you for a second about what I think is going on here. Okay. It seems like on March 6th that we're going to have just a new trial. De novo is a fancy word. Usually in the law, when you have those kind of fancy Latin words, you try to figure out what it really means. This is another one of those kind of deals. It just means a new trial, okay? And the reason that Mr. Webster is correct, the reason that you have the right to a new trial, completely new trial, is because I guess in the City of North Las Vegas, they don't keep a transcript of the proceedings or a record of proceedings in that way. And so just as a matter of fairness, it's evolved to where you do get a whole new trial at the district court. Okay, so that's scheduled for March 6th. Now, is there something other than a new trial that you want?
Absolutely, Your Honor. First of all, I had no idea that he had vacated. I still don't know what vacated
means. Taken off calendar.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I didn't even know that was even allowed. I mean, if there's a briefing schedule, because this is not the first time. They've got a pattern of practice. There was another helmet trial in which there was a briefing schedule, and when push came to shove, they did not want to respond to that briefing schedule, and they maliciously and vexatiously said, we cave. We don't even want to do this trial de novo. And I do understand about the trial de novo, Your Honor, because this is not my first time having a trial de novo from the City of North Las Vegas. In the previous one, where I had a trial de novo, I was found not guilty, and that was because in that trial in that court of non-record, I call it the top secret court of non-record, because nobody's allowed to even bring even a cell phone unless you're an attorney, you're an audio recorder, absolutely nothing, not even into any part of the courthouse. I mean, you are completely stripped of all of your property. So I had, when I did...
Okay, let me cut you off for a second, because
yes.
I want to get to what we're doing here. Mr. Webster, do you have all these pleadings that she's filed having to do with discovery and motions to dismiss and all that?
I did receive them. Since we had the December 10th hearing before my response was due and the briefing was vacated, I didn't respond, although I can, but I don't think it's necessary. We have filled the discovery request. Her discovery request was the filling of it was a copy of the ticket. because we don't have a police report, we have nothing else in discovery that we're using at trial but the ticket itself.
Okay, here's my thought. You want a continuance anyway of court proceedings. Why don't we just put everything on March 6th, whatever it may be? In other words, if there's any motion to dismiss activity, anything else you want to complain about having to do with discovery, anything else that comes to mind, that and the trial itself, we'll just schedule everything for March 6th.
Is there any reason, are they exempt from having to respond to me about the fact that that's all that they're using is a helmet, the ticket? Because when I was in the original court, the cop had a whole bunch of notes that I would like to see. So he's being disingenuous, Your Honor.
When we have a new trial, it's just the same situation as if the trial was happening over in Northtown. So given that, and Mr. Webster, of course, knows that, what is your practice to give discovery to a defendant over in Northtown on a case like this?
We have an open file policy, which is that we give the defendant everything we have. We did that because all we have is a traffic ticket. There's no report, there's no notes of the officer, there's nothing else that we have, nor do we rely on anything else, and we'd be prevented, I believe, from using anything else.
So that's
With due respect, Your Honor, that is exactly why it is a top secret court of non-record. He is lying, Your Honor. I saw that officer. He had handwritten notes. I would like access to those notes. He is lying. This is not the first time, Your Honor. How many times do they how many laws do they have to break? Ethics standards of Nevada State Bar violate and NRS violations and rules of court before somebody does something. Your Honor, I mean, how much more do I have to be strung along? I'm not the only person that this... excuse me.
I mean, I can tell that this means a lot to you, and that's okay, but let me just answer your question, all right? That's not before me today. All right, the only thing really today is trying to figure out the procedural course of this case. And it's going to be a de novo trial. What I've indicated is that trial now is going to happen on March 6th here in this courtroom. In addition, I've said that if there's anything else you want to have addressed at the time of March 6th on that hearing date, discovery issues, motion to dismiss issues, for example, this issue about the ticket versus police report or notes from an officer, I'll just take all that up first on March 6th. Okay, that's all I can do. It's not before me here today. And so I'll just do that. And I would just say to both sides that since you now know that I'm going to entertain prior to the trial these evidentiary issues having to do with the ticket or the notes from the officer or any of that kind of stuff, there's some pleadings, there's some paperwork pleadings that are filed in regard to all this, but not all of it. And so if the City of North Las Vegas wants to file some sort of a response to her request for discovery or her motion to dismiss, that probably would be helpful to me. Okay, I'll just tell you, because I'll look at all that, and if we make it through all that, then we'll have the trial. And I want to make sure everybody understands. Be ready for the trial. Okay, be ready for the trial that day. If something does happen, when I look at the issues having to do with discovery, the ticket, the report, motion to dismiss, that precludes the trial from having to happen, well, then so be it. But I don't want you to have that float in your head. I want to make sure we're clear that be ready for the trial that day. Assume it's going to happen. If I find some legal reason why it shouldn't, well, then I'll do it that way. But I don't want to have it in your head, either side, that there's something that might come about, even though it might, to make it so we don't have the trial that day. Just assume we're going to have it, be ready. He's going to have to be ready to present his whole case, and you guys are ready to present your whole defense. But all these other issues we'll just have to deal with. And the reason I can't deal with it today is, it's just been brought up in court. If the attorney for North Las Vegas says, we've given them everything we have, and you think you're calling them a liar here in court.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I need to have the paperwork and the pleadings put to me so I can see what he gave, why he gave it, what they have, what they don't have, and have it in the pleading and figure it out.
Well, since we're not allowed to record anything, and since the only thing they have is a surveillance cameras that may or may not work, and they tend not to work, especially on days like when Judge Van Landshut, the retired Van Landshut, told that defendant Stillwell, the law does not matter in my court, then the only thing I could think of is an affidavit from one of the witnesses that saw that police officer had notes. And I'd like to know are they also exempt from Brady information? Because I also have a Brady request, because that police officer has been around for a while and his behavior was appalling, and I'm sure that there's some kind of information that would prove that he had no probable cause, and he absolutely went beyond the call of duty to harass me and to violate me.
All right, look, I do have a pleading from you, Ms. Gonzalez, which is entitled Appellant's Request for Discovery. And it does say Brady request in here, too. I think that's basically what it is. Mr. Webster, I'll just tell you, take a look at all the stuff she has filed. There's 3 or 4 pleadings in here. It would be helpful to me if you filed some kind of a normal pleading relevant to this.
We'll file a response.
Okay. Anyway, we'll see you on March 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I want to remind everybody that I ride to be free, not to be safe. So, repeal it or feel it, bitches.